And then, I didn't really think I was gonna be here, but if I had an extra 5 or 10 minutes, I might not have made it. I've probably been like, never mind.
Amber's tired today.
So I came here to support Chris. I don't think he needs it, but your tripod a little. Is it off a little bit?
Yeah. There it was. Oh, yeah, it is. That leg was off a little bit.
Boy Scout camp, we made what's called hammock trees.
Mhm.
So got cedar, I mean, they were cedar trees, they were cedar tops, so they're 13, 14, couple of 17 inches base.
Right.
13, 60 foot tall. I put them in a circle, that way the boys could hook up their hammocks on them, because they fight over the trees and the tree bark's kind of getting worn out, you know, that kind of thing. So it was amazing working with some adults that couldn't conceptualize and look at that pose and say it's good or straight. So two teachable moments. I got a pretty good eye. When they look at it, he and I would stand like at 6 o'clock and 3 o'clock. And then as them standing like that, all right. Yeah, it's really where it's at. Then always start getting better. Of course, it's hot relation too, because those trees sometimes. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. They might be straight for the first 3 or 4 feet, but maybe up above that.
Pops up, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, something confirmed that the confirmed Monday. I was out on my mower whenever you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I
Wasn't
was
plugged
on the
in.
front yard and vibrating. Shut it off and answer the call. I sit there and talk yelling a while on 20 minutes or so, whatever. Like, it's all right. I need to make up that time somewhere. So I told Mike, that's gone. Got a couple hours I need to make up for the other day. I'll stick off a couple hours on Friday. And I work remote Thursday and Friday. So he said, go back, grab your camera, grab your computer, check out.
Early inspection kickoff.
Man,
No, I'm fine with something.
yeah. Solid. Yeah, I haven't responded to Mark's email.
Oh, did you? No, I haven't seen it today.
Yeah, I was like, dude, he sent that email like 2 weeks ago. Whatever you do, don't get in a hurry.
Right. What is?
He said he only gets involved if they actually attach something to the bridge. So apparently it looked, Mark Hadders, now, as of the time I left.
So here I am. So.
So I think,
a major.
mindset of what you've done so far is,
Been helping with
you
that.
can write comments and if it
Yeah.
comes back.
Yeah, got it.
I think we would say, at this point, I think we would
Yeah.
probably not oppose the project. As long as they're not attaching anything to it. At which point we would, need to just.
Mine's falling down.
They will be.
Well, you know, it needs to be.
Yes, I think everything you said was right.
So much.
So I think you're right on track. I think it's all good.
He's researched those he claims.
I apologize, I didn't really say anything else. Email.
Just basic between.
About, some of the projects, and like I said, that same day I saw, I saw that you were also on SharePoint in there looking at something. So they had gotten, they tap projects or anything, probably had to agree with the sectors of it, not. And,
Yeah.
So I'm gonna save that as
in training, all road up, and we had to do assessment right now.
Yeah.
Doing all that because
Yeah.
it's stalled.
Yeah, I know, I totally agree.
So they don't know what else.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Taylor, that has to
Like
be
they
out
said,
there.
In the spring, and everything. So it's better than-
I'm like,
No, I
no
think that's-
solution to that, guys.
I think that's a good idea.
Third floor, is actually, you could get out.
Yeah.
windows.
Yeah. Get rid of the dogs.
That's what I did.
For me, it's a dog club.
Much fun with dog. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, you did. I thought way too much pressure on you, that. You. I'm sitting here, I remember, who was I talking to? And it was you. I'm good.
Glad you guys are doing the project.
Yeah.
Um.
Leaving down there.
Yeah, to make sure they have plenty of.
Okay, I got a little after 2, so we're 2:02. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order and start with introductions. For Jeremy Tan, with Southeast Missouri Regional Finance.
Alex McAvoy, SEMPO.
Kelly Watson, Cape County Transit.
John Boss, citizen of this capacity, state representative for city of Detroit.
Drew Christian, Seymour Regional Planning.
Joe Gillian, MoDOT.
Chris Crocker, Area Engineer, MoDOT. Tom Caldwell, IDOT.
Charlie Hurts, Cape County.
Jim Rhodes, City of Jackson.
We have Kelly Green joining us on Zoom.
Yes, so if we could have people mention who's making which motion, that would help Kelly with our minutes.
We'll go ahead with the approval, the adoption of the agenda.
Jim Rhodes, I move to adopt the agenda.
Charlie Hurts, second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, agenda stands. Approval of minutes, August 16, 2023 meeting. Those were provided here in your packet. You had a chance to review them. Take that motion to approve.
Charlie Hurts, so motion.
Jim Rhodes, second.
Motion second. Any discussion or edits? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes stand. I don't have any communications to share at this point, so we'll go to public comments regarding items not on the agenda. See if you have any comments that were raised. Hearing none, we'll move on to new and unfinished business. Resolution number 2023-09, a resolution authorizing the executive director to negotiate and execute the contract for the development of a comprehensive safety action plan in compliance with the Safe Streets and Roads for All program.
Okay, as soon as we received our notice to proceed from the federal highway for our grant project, we were quick to get out an RFP. The RFP was reviewed by our Plan Development Committee and Federal Highway reps. We issued the RFP on July 6th and asked for all proposals to be due by August 11th. We were very fortunate. We received proposals from 4 different highly qualified firms. Our review committee had scored the proposals and recommended Lock Mueller to our planning committee. Our planning committee took a look at it and voted unanimously to move that recommendation forward to the board. What you have before you is authorization for me to enter into agreement with Lock Mueller Group for development of our safety action plan.
Jim Rhodes, I move the approved resolution number 2023-09.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
You opposed? Resolution stands. Next is resolution 2023-10, resolution approving the amendment number 3 to the FY 2024-2027 transportation program.
This is somewhat of a unique tip amendment. We have 3 projects which will require an amendment and then 1 administrative modification. Those will be coming to you next month, but one of the projects, just due to operational timing, was gonna be much better suited if it was able to get approval this month by the board. So what we're asking to do, for the board to do, is approve this tip amendment on a conditional basis. Once approved by the board, I'll put it out for public comment, which requires 7 days. And then upon completion of the 7 days, if no comments are received, I'll send on the approved tip amendment to MoDOT reps, to send on to MoDOT. The amendment is for one project. It's MoDOT pavement resurfacing along Missouri Route 177 in Cape Girardeau County under the funding category of taking care of the system. It's a little north of $2.5 million project for resurfacing from Route J to the end of state maintenance. And with the addition of rumble strips from UTE Lane to Lexington.
If you do receive comments, what's the strategy then?
Then I'll circle up with MoDOT. It'll depend a little bit on the content of the comments, but I'll be looking with Mike Henderson and Mike Brandon and Joe. On any comments.
If we do have negative comments or an issue arises there, Jeremy, what will happen is we will, based upon the comments, we may need to just push that project back. It is currently scheduled for a November letting, and I'll just very briefly fill in some background on that. When I came to MoDOT in 2003, we were using a program we had already had to develop our STIP. And in the last year and a half or so, we've developed a new program, kind of bring us into the 21st century. It's a lot more user friendly. It's kind of like looking at, say, a Windows 95 screen today and looking at Windows 11 or whatever. It's just vastly different. Anyway, the projects, the 3 projects, this one and a couple of bridge washing projects on Emerson Bridge, did not get appropriately tagged with the MPO indicator. And it's kind of awkward because this has just a little bit of work within the MPO from Uke Lane to Lexington. The rest of it's pretty much outside of the MPO boundary, or most of it is. And then the 2 bridge washing projects on Emerson Bridge are, again, literally right on the outside edge of the MoDOT boundary anyway, obviously within the state line. But these projects, for whatever reason, just didn't get that indicator marked. This is typically done automatically, systematically, and did not get it. And I brought it up back in April, and they were started working on trying to figure out what's going on. I probably forgot about it, thought I sent it to Drew, but apparently did not. So I will take the blame on that. But if there is a problem, we'll just have to push the project back.
So this is just the project that would have been, amendment would have been put in the tip, but it's rushed because it's scheduled for
Yes.
November 11th, right?
Right. Yeah, this would have been,
A comment period could have been a month ago.
yeah, this would have been part of amendment number
Just came
1.
up. Yeah.
Right, it would have been part of amendment number 1, but that's something that we've missed. And honestly, they probably should have been included in the last couple of years. I think somehow these just managed to not get that indicator. So anyway, we're trying to correct it. We're going to run the 2 bridge washing projects will go through the normal process. So just keeping this isolated to kind of keep it clean. Like I said, if we have a problem, we'll just push the lighting back on this.
It's just administrative nature.
Yes, in fact, the central office did what they call an ad mod, an administrative modification, where they literally said it's technical correction. It's an MPO. Mark a box and call it good. But for us, because it's within the MPO, we have to go through a little bit more of a process here. So that's just a correction. We're not changing the project in any way. We're looking forward to having the project done, getting some more work done out there on 177.
That will call for the conditional approval of the resolution.
Charter conditional resolution number 2023-10, resolution approving amendment 3 to the tip.
First from Charlie,
I'll second, Howard Lawson.
second from
We
Kelly.
don't want to hold the minutes.
All in favor? Any opposed? Resolution stands. We'll move on to next is the SEMPO Region Trail Connection Study.
We are getting underway with our second major planning project for the year. We have formed a plan development committee for the trail connection study. We have two representatives from Jackson, the city engineer Anna Bergmark, and Parks and Recreation representative Jason Light. Since we formed the committee, we learned that Anna's tenure with the city of Jackson is a little bit limited, but she had agreed to stay on the committee as a private citizen when her tenure is done. So we're going to keep her, and if Jackson wants to add an additional city rep, you're more than welcome to take them. But we also have City of Cape Representatives Kate Portal from the Parks and Recreation Division and City Planner Ryan Shrimplin as well. We have a kickoff meeting scheduled on October 3rd to begin to define the scope of the project, the deliverables, goals, and the solicitation process to find a partnering firm. That's all for that one.
Intersection studies.
Okay, if folks remember, we approved two different locations. The first is 621 and Perryville Road. The second is in Jackson, that's Independence Street or Route D between Broadridge and Rosebud Drive. And then also between Broadridge Drive and Lewis Drive. That's right in front of the Jackson Middle School. A little bit more of a corridor study, but with two troublesome intersections, especially with the abundance of pedestrian presence there. So we have a subcommittee that is right now reviewing the consultants that we have on general service agreements to see if they'd like to recommend engaging one of them with potentially a task order to complete the studies. Our review committee is comprised of Cape County, Jackson Special Road District, and Cape Florida. But once they've gone through our GSAs and made a recommendation, I'll have more on that one.
Questions for Alex on the intersection study? Okay, GIS audit.
This one is underway. The Regional Planning Commission has onboarded a new staff member that's been working on developing new maps for us. I believe they're just going to do a little QA, QC on some of the maps that have been generated, and then we should be able to start populating SEMPO's website with some more interactive maps.
Any questions? We'll move on to the tip tool selection.
Wait here. All right, tool selection. We have a draft RFP complete right now. I did ask Drew to take a look at it. So once he's had an opportunity to make sure it includes everything that we'd like to see in a tip tool, or at least in the solicitation of, we'll be putting that out to firms that offer those services. More to come on that one too.
Questions?
What is a tip tool?
For any projects within our transportation improvement program, we have a web portal through SEMPO's website that will show the project location on a map, and everything you see, all the information you see on the actual amendment is stored in PDF on the website as well. So it's a different way to kind of navigate and interact with our long range planning.
One copy of it.
Yeah. Illinois not using tip tools?
Well, Champaign Urbana is designed to run them, but other, that's why I'm asking. Well, I've seen that, but the, over Cape Marion, or not Cape, but over Marion, Carbondale Marion, no. Not that's interactive like it used to be.
Interesting. The network of Missouri MPOs that I've worked with, they all have tip tools. I've gotten recommendations from
I'll
them.
be curious. So you're soliciting now, vendors for specific to?
We currently have one, but we signed on in 2018. It had a 5-year service and maintenance contract, which expired. And it's just a little antiquated for the functionality of certainly today's features that are out there. So we were, yep. Yeah, so we were asking to see what else is out there. Even our current vendor, I believe, has a newer version that we just aren't privy to yet because of our old agreement that expired. So we encourage them to participate as well, but we wanted to see what other vendors were providing. But right now, we're month to month with our current tools. It's the expiration of our maintenance agreement.
Move on to the origin and destination analytical tool.
Nothing new to report on this one. This one, I had shared, we were gonna wait to get started on this until we had our consultant for our safe streets and roads plan, safety action plan, just for the opportunity to see what software and licenses they had, kind of as a free and quick demo. But once we've identified if we want to go out with an RFP, I'll be working with folks to receive demonstrations from firms like Streetlight Data, Replica, and Placement. More to come on that one, but nothing really new right now.
We do currently have access to a placer. So-
Yes, I saw Drew had done a little bit of exploration with me on that. We were looking at a trail track. Yeah, it's a really cool.
All right, well, we're moving on. Member reports. City of Kate. Do you have any for Steve?
I do not.
All right.
Jackson's finishing up its annual concrete street repair program. And it's asphalt street repair program, wrapping those up and just other duties or normal maintenance activities.
Okay.
Wrapping up paving and overlay, there's much to do on. Had that issue, I think. I think we're gonna try to bid out three bridges. So you see, we're gonna try to bundle them together, see if Chris knows, try to get some contractors saying, yeah, we'll do them, but tell them, hey, you've got 2 years to get them done. Or that way they can program out and they can attack things, because that's a problem. Got our money and our VRO money. Got bridges we can get replaced, engineered. What wants to bid on, because we got enough work. I think we had to ask for an extension.
Yeah, the original 2 bridges that you bundled, the bids come back excessive and you received the concurrence and rejection of those. And now you're working on a different bridge and trying to get the plans done and the bid documents.
We got one big bridge that's gonna goes across Half Creek.
That's the one you're working on right now, and I think you've kind of run into some issues right away on that. So it's kind
Land
of
use and conservation land or what they. Nomenclature is that it was set aside. But the set aside program expires next year, so we're gonna probably make the property.
the delays on that bridge are impacting the previous project.
Yeah.
Special road district. Cape Transit.
I don't have anything to report at this time.
See, Prince is here. RBC here against.
Well, I'm working on the, so there'll be amendment number 2 coming next month, amendment number 4 coming next month. I guess the ad mod, all of that for the tip will be coming as well. The ad mods, just, we haven't had one in a while, so just, since I know this. Ad mods are administrative modifications that don't require action from TPC or the board. The changes are minor enough that it's just, like Joe said,
one of the projects up in the central office. It's just administrative, you do it. The ad mod is moving a project that was originally in last year's TIP, but because inflation didn't get done, so it's the same project, it's just being bumped in 24. So changing, if all you're doing is changing the fiscal year, it's just an ad mod. Amendment 2 is for the Sunset Ridge VRO in Jackson. And then Amendment 4, as Joe said earlier, is for the 2 bridge washings that should have been in the TIP. So those are being brought in. That. Tom, I'll let you go with IDOT first.
I don't have anything for IDOT, but I was looking to see if Betsy had possibly showed up. Betsy is recently named the team leader for L1 Division FSWA. And also Daniel, they go by Daniel or Dan, Missouri. He's been working with her kind of as a understudy here the last few weeks. So I was thinking maybe both of them would be showing up together. So he's been attending others, and she'll still be doing her similar activities as before. They were scared. She was down. She was the only one within the planning arena in LIFS. Been a number of people moved. That's all. Me?
Yeah, you could always,
Uh,
RHIP.
So the main conference that I touched on, I think the last meeting or maybe the TAC meeting is Missouri, Iowa, Nebraska, and Kansas City, for local road program administrators get together and meet for a couple of days to talk about those types of issues. I've never been to one before, so I wanted to kind of report back what it entailed. And we talked about anything from federal discretionary grants and how to apply for those, and ways to maybe make your applications better and receive funding for those, to gravel roads in counties where you talk about dust control, to even fish spawning up and down streams, and how replacing culverts is a good thing, and spanning streams is a good thing to help with that. So it's kind of all over the board. And I would recommend it if you have time next year to go to the main conference. It's usually, I think it's in St. Joe every year. It seemed worthwhile, especially the federal discretionary grant portion. There were members from FHWA that were there that hit on a lot of topics that I think would be really good for any entity that's interested in applying for those grants. So we closed our TEAP application here recently this month. Kind of the same thing we've been seeing across the board for other grants, is we just didn't get a lot of applicants. That program, we received 2 district-wide. The city of Park Hills is interested in taking a look at one of their intersections inside the city limits near the downtown area by the railroad tracks to help improve efficiencies there. And then the city of Perryville has applied for TEAP funding for Alma Drive, and looking at whether or not a signalized intersection would be a good fit there, or a roundabout would be a good fit there. So those were the only 2 that we received. I'm really hopeful that we can go ahead and work both of them and get those projects started.
When does that?
I don't know, because there's a timeline for reviewing the application, sending that to central office, and I'm hoping to certainly know that, because those projects were kind of vetted already. Because if you are interested in TEAP funding on the state system, you have to get pre-approval from our district traffic engineer. So we've already looked at them and said, yeah, we think these are viable, good projects to take a look at. And I don't see any reason why we would score them. So, hopefully sooner rather than later. Still waiting on, I think somebody already asked me earlier in the meeting, but still waiting on announcements for TAP. We've sent all of our committee members the applications. We're just basically waiting to hear back from everybody to say that these projects fit the description of the TAP program, and we don't see any issues with it. So should be making the official announcement soon, but it's looking like every applicant received is going to be funded this year, just like it was last year. Again, don't know the answer to the additional funding that we didn't spend, which was roughly about $1 million worth of TAP funding. So there's one or two options that's going to happen. We're either going to do another call this year per district who had funding left over, or it'll get added to next year's call. If I were guessing, I would say it's probably going to be next year's call, and because it's a 1-year call for the project versus 2, so maybe it'll give us a little bit more funding for next year.
Next year, just a 1 year.
Yeah, next year's a 1-year call. This year was actually 2-year call. As far as projects, I don't have any major updates, but if you haven't heard by now, we are going to be closing down Route 61 in Jackson October 2nd. Our traffic department was discussing earlier kind of those impacts and what to expect. We're taking a look at the signals at Route 61 and D, and then the signals at D and Farmington. We're going to be adjusting the timing on those because the traffic flow is going to be different there. So we're going to adjust the timing the day of to hopefully help alleviate some of the congestion.
I guess there'll be signage down by the train tracks, I guess, there in Jackson for the fire department. Just even keep them coming
Yes,
that way.
there's
There's gonna be a message board there in Maine, I guess, send them back out,
There'll be, I think we have,
trying to help Jim out.
There's some message boards out
People out there with,
to the north of the project, but I don't remember the south end of the station. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure there is going to be message boards on all of the legs that you could approach the project from. We've been working with the city of Jackson to try and prevent truck traffic from trying to utilize Farmington. We can't stop them, but we are going to maybe put out a message on the interstate, which is not what we're talking.
The World War police trying to help you.
Yeah. Yeah, but there should be something set up in that area.
I'm sure.
But yeah, that's October 2nd, so that's when we're going to close the route down, and you'll have it closed for a year while that project's going. That's all I got, Joe.
I don't think I really have anything other than the stuff I discussed earlier with the TIP amendments and the project. So I do thank the board for consideration on that. That's all I have.
Mike?
No update.
Okay. That's all the partners we have here today, so. Get ready to move on to the staff report.
The only thing I had, I'll be out next week. I'll be traveling to the CAMPO Association of Metropolitan Planning Organizations Conference in Cleveland. I'll be out that week, and then I'll certainly report back and share everything I'm able to learn.
Any other business or communications? I will say the next meeting is scheduled for October 18th, which happens to coincide with the RPC Directors Training Annual Retreat, so I will not be able to chair. But it's Mayor House. All right.
I'll make sure he gets.
All right, with that, I guess we'll call for a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All right, a motion second, all in favor? is adjourned. Thank you. Quick one.
That's what I feel.
Larry, 31 minutes at a record. Trying to be held to record. Last one, like 30.
Whatever we did, it might be close. It might be close.
You get too much shorter.
It did not look to drive in.
Right. It's just about getting business stuff.
Right.
We're gonna do it anyway, so it's time.
It is, I don't know if you.
Anyway, it's happening when we have it, please.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, yeah, he's good.
The name.
Hope you enjoy, he's been if you don't think that you're.
Yeah.
For a year or two, he deals with, Bloomington, our district campaign indicators.
I came here from Bloomington, familiar with the area.
Used to be a.
Yeah, Bob, and I told him that. Outside was where it was going to be one. Number one on your data. Cleveland.
I went to Cleveland State University, so I know,
Okay.
I know from going.
I had,
It's an Indian.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's an Indian tribe.
couple of sports jobs many years ago, okay. Carol?
Oh, yeah.
That place for somewhere.